Ready to brief exercise 11 tax 6. Our problem that we are given reads that the stockholders' equity section of Culver Corporation's balance sheet consists of common stock, $8 par value, of $1,040,000, and retained earnings of $500,000. A 10% stock dividend, 13,000 shares, is declared when the market price per share is $18. We'll go through part A and part B. We'll work through before the dividend, and then after that we'll move to after the dividend. So for part A, it says show the before and after effects of the dividend on the components of stockholders' equity. We'll start out with the stockholders' equity and paid-in capital, since that's what we'll be working with. And then we'll move to common stock, which before the dividend is $1,040,000, as we see right here. Common stock, $1,040,000. Paid-in capital in excess of par value common stock. We haven't really touched that yet, so we'll leave that as a blank. And then for the total paid-in capital, we will again have the $1,040,000. We'll just bring this down since this was blank. And then now we will move on to retained earnings. And again, the retained earnings is shown right here, $500,000. Now we will add the retained earnings of $500,000 to the total paid-in capital of $1,040,000, and our total stockholders' equity before the dividend will give us a grand total of $1,540,000. Part B, let's move down. It says show the before and after effects of the dividend on the shares outstanding. Before the dividend, outstanding shares, is 130,000, and the way we get to 130,000 is we take the 1,040,000 right up here of common stock, and we divide that by the $8 par value, which will give us a grand total of 130,000 outstanding shares. Now we'll go back up to part A for after the dividend. We'll go to common stock. The simple way to find common stock is we take the common stock after the dividend, is we'll take the common stock before the dividend, which is 1,040,000, and we'll add that to the stock dividend par percentage right here of 10%, since that's what's being issued. And when we take 1,040,000 times that 10%, it will give us 104,000. So we'll add the 104,000 to the 1,040,000, and it will give us $1,144,000 of common stock after the dividend is issued. Now, paid-in capital in excess of par value common stock. The key word that we're looking at here is excess. And so when we look at the par value of $8 and then when the dividend is declared when the market price per share is $18, the difference or the excess between those two is $10. So we will take the $10,000 excess times the 13,000 shares, which is given right here, and that will bring us to $130,000. Okay. Now we will add this to the common stock after the dividend, which will bring us to a total paid-in capital of $1,274,000. And now, so far, hopefully I didn't lose anybody yet. We will now move on to retained earnings. And the way we found retained earnings is we have the $18 is the price per share when the dividend is issued. So we'll have 18 times the 13,000 shares, which will give us $234,000 of stock. So now we'll take the $500,000 of retained earnings and subtract the $234,000, which will give us a new retained earnings of $266,000. Now the reason why we're subtracting is because we're using those retained earnings to spend on giving out dividends so that our stockholders are remaining happy, and that is why the retained earnings will decrease. Now, when we find that, we will add the retained earnings of $266,000 to the total paid-in capital of $1,274,000, and our total stockholders' equity after the dividend will be $1,540,000. And our outstanding shares after the dividend will be the outstanding shares before of 130,000, and we add the 13,000 shares of the dividend, which will give us a grand total of 143,000 outstanding shares after the dividend is issued. So that is brief exercise 11 tax 6. Hopefully I did not lose anybody. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and hope you are all enjoying your wonderful 4th of July. Till next time.